Serve to say what is intended to be achieved by the Delta State Public and Private Protection Law is now being discredited by the various local government chairmen. We have committee on foundation, committee on iron and steel, committee on aluminium, committee on roofing, committee on tiles, committee on painting. There is no developer. There is nobody that will say, I have acquired the land in Delta State, I have built my house from foundation level to roofing level, I have not paid anything that could be termed as development. There is no developer. If this government is sincere, the government should set up an agency. The purpose of this agency is to give everybody direct call number to say, if anybody is harassing you in your side, call this number, will be there. At the point of development, you see the same persons surfacing and reappearing on the said parcel of land, telling you, we are the owners of this land. The land we have sold, you are coming again to say you are the owners. At that point, they will tell you that there is something that is called cut off.
Welcome to another insightful episode of 10 Angles TV, the podcast that delves deeper into the news, fostering a more robust conversation and understanding. To stay updated on our latest discussion, follow us on our social media handles at 10 Angles TV on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Today we are tackling a critical issue affecting development in Delta State. In 2018, the then governor, Dr. Ifeanyi Ato Okowa, signed the Delta State Public and Private Properties Protection Bill into law. This legislation aimed to address the pervasive harassment of developers by community members, particularly in urban centers, as well as the rampant land grabbing and multiple sales of the same piece of land to different individuals. In this episode, we'll explore the challenges, solutions, and observe shortcomings of this law. Joining me is Barrister Omes Ogedegbe, a seasoned legal practitioner with vast experience in law since 2008. He's also the Director General of the Conference for Actualization of Human Rights, an author and a social crusader for justice. Welcome, Barrister Ogedegbe. Thank you for coming to discuss this issue. My name is Linus Chima. So the point is, development in Delta State at a particular point was becoming very problematic. And investors were scared of coming to Delta State, of being in Delta State, and of developing properties in Delta State. At a point, the state government had to go into itself and come up with a law to protect public and private properties. Now, how did we get to this sorry state?
The fact is, prior to the enactment of that law, developers have been having serious challenges. And these challenges stem from individuals, families, and communities.
So it's a three-layered problem.
Yes, sir. Some persons air themselves out. We do not see how a man who has sold his parcel of land will take the position of an ancestor. You have sold your land. I do not see your business in connection with the land having conveyed your interest over the said parcel of land. At the point of development, you see the same persons surfacing and reappearing on the said parcel of land, telling you, we are the owners of this land. The land we have sold, you are coming again to say you are the owners. At that point, they will tell you that there is something that is called cut off.
What do you mean by a cut off? Is that jam?
They will tell you that if you do not want us to appear on the said parcel of land, you now have to compensate us, and that compensation is what they term as cut off.
Okay.
Which means you don't want to have anything to do with us again. You now settle us.
But you have already paid for the land.
Yes. That was what developers were experiencing.
Where is that one now coming
They
from?
have different names for their intended exploitation of developers.
What you are talking about is exploitation.
Exploitation, simplicity. They come in different forms. Where even the amount you have said to have acquired that land might even equate what they are terming as the said cutoff. That if you decide to pay us a certain amount, the family will now allow you to breathe. And that is what they are terming as a cutoff. Otherwise, failure to do so, you do not have the right to bring in any workers. From the point of digging the foundation to the point of roofing,
painting,
even to the point of people moving in. In some areas where you are even bringing in your load, they will have to accost the person that is coming to move into the apartment.
They will start asking, where did they go?
Yes. So these are the things. It was very problematic in the States. Even little commercial traders were not spared this agony. You see somebody trying to put up a kiosk.
But don't you think that this is just a way of raising funds, revenue for the communities?
No, we do not see this development we are talking about. Do not trickle.
Otherwise known as development.
Yes, the development we are talking about, this development fee we are talking about, does not trickle into the community. It is just a way of some individuals, they see themselves as political do-gooders who have some political godfathers.
When this thing started, we were not in politics.
No. When we are not talking about politics, comes in different forms.
Yes.
We have the family politics. There are some persons that are head of family politics. They unleash the family dogs to terrorize people that are developing family properties. These are usually the bargain before they assume leadership position in the family. So it goes with even as far as to the local government.
As far as to oil,
as far as to the engagement with oil companies, even as far as to the state. That is why when you even arrest these persons, they will tell you, and I make bold to say that there is nobody that have been arrested, that have been detained and charged to court.
Give us a little more understanding about the law. That's 2018 law. Give us a little more understanding.
The law envisaged all of our complaints. It was an executive bill that was sponsored to the State House of Assembly, arising from outcry from genuine developers in Delta State. Even if you remember when then Governor Barr was executive governor of Delta State, he had to challenge the various communities to say, if you do not resist the temptation of chasing away developers in your state or your communities, any contractor that is harassed by any community, we will relocate the project from that community.
That means it has been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
It has been a long time coming.
We were offended by that statement ascribed to the then governor, James Onanefe-Bori. As a governor, you are telling a community that if you harass any contractor, we will relocate the project from your community.
Why did the government not just...
Instead of you to say, we are going to tackle any community that harass any of our contractors.
So they have been betting the issue.
Yes. It is simply because these persons that are harassing these developers, they have some persons who have the attention of the state governor, they have some persons who have the attention of the local government chairman, they have the persons who have the attention of the community leaders, and it is difficult to deal with them.
Does the law, as it is, prescribe punishment for offenders?
Yes. As the case may be, where you unlawfully enter into the site of anybody, being a developer, without lawful authorization, the punishment is there.
At what point does entry into somebody's property become unlawful? Because as a landlord, as an owner of the community, you could just stroll in and stroll out. So
the law gives me the right to private enjoyment of my property. So entering that property without authorization for the purpose of coming to make any demand in connection with the property I'm developing is an affront on the law, for which punishment is prescribed. And the punishment stems from 2 years to 7 years imprisonment, option of fine, 500,000 and 1 million naira, as the case may be.
Has anybody been sentenced?
That is what we are saying. One, it is one thing to enact the law, and implementation is another thing. We have not been able to implement this law because, like our father of blessed memory, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, will say, our people are afraid. Nobody wants to die. Each time you arrest anybody that have come to harass you in the course of developing your property, your co-laborers will begin to tell you, why not you call these people and negotiate with them? These people, you can negotiate with them. This is the property you want to build and park in with your family. Don't make problem with these people.
But that is also true. Because if you start making problems with them, they may also make problems for you.
There was a developer who was beaten to death. There was another developer. He was beaten to a state of coma.
That is why people are afraid.
That is what I am telling you now is this. There is the paradox of a man who was told, don't go out. If you go out, you are likely to die. The man decided to remain in his house. He said, I don't want to go out. The elephant fell and killed the man in his own house. So no matter how we live our life, we must die one day. Yes. We must die one day. And let us also remember that no matter how polluted an atmosphere, one man's aroma can make a difference.
Especially.
Yes. We should not begin to say, because there is a lawyer that is living in the next street, that lawyer paid 500,000 for peace to reign. I am not as prominent as that lawyer. I have not achieved half of what that lawyer have achieved in society. Why will I want to make trouble with these people? We should not be seen to be doing that. Let us make a difference in our own way. Let us not begin, because that is what they usually tell you to say, you think you are a lawyer. Look at that street. Several lawyers.
Or you think you are a medical doctor.
You think you are a medical doctor. Doctors are paying. Engineers are paying. Even police officers. Soldiers. Who are you going to call? You are going to call police officers for us? When even police officers are paying this ANTI-DEVE.
But the point is this now. How come the community elders are not able to control their youth?
What do we really have? Or who are these people we call community elders? I used to tell people,
the family elders, the family leaders, how come it appears they are able to rein in these young men? Because they are getting the name of that community is damaged.
What we must not forget is that fools grow old. The fool that is a youth, when he becomes an elder, it does not make him less a fool. It only makes him a fool as an elder. These are the categories of people that are holding leadership position in our communities. These are retired youths who have this stock and trade attached to them in these areas of specialty, now becoming elders in these various communities. So they sanction the actions of these people, and these are and whether we like it or not, they even set up committee in the various communities. They have various land committees. These land committees, you can never see a lawyer becoming a member of the land committee. Because no medical doctor.
You will go and spoil business.
Yes, those people will be very meticulous in dealing with developers. The people they bring in are people who have one form of maybe amputation. People who have scars, who have something to show for tokenism. These are the people they recruit into these various committees.
Okay, I wish we had maybe an architect or developer with us right now. But can you share any experience, maybe from persons who have come to talk with you to seek redress? Can you share some experiences with us of how the truth process operates?
Do you know? We have had several instances where developers will come when it is very hot. When they come, they will tell you, whatever it takes, I want to deal with this community. Before the next day, even before the approval of the petition, this person will tell you, I have been talked to, I want peace to reign.
We'll just leave this matter.
Yes, but I have told any developer, it is cheaper to be at war than to be at peace. What this community are demanding is something you know. If you spend half of it in going after them, the law is there. But nobody wants to lead the pack in the enforcement of this law. And let us also tell ourselves the truth. The government of the day is playing hanky-panky with the said law.
Who's playing hanky-panky like that?
Yes. They have put machinery in place to circumvent this law.
How do you mean? Because this bill was signed into law in 2018
Yes.
by the governor.
Yes.
And in his wisdom, in the wisdom of the executive, it was an executive bill.
Yes.
So there was a need to cure an ailment.
Yes, sir.
So if government introduce a bill to cure an ailment, how will the government still come back and stand behind or
If you see the law renders any action of demand from a developer that is unauthorized as being punitive. So which means anybody that comes into a development site without authority and makes a demand, that action is punitive.
Sure.
But we can legalize the said action. You now say how?
How?
The various local government councils have now legalized this action that have been prescribed by the law.
But that can be challenged in law anyway.
Yes, it can be challenged. But pending when it is challenged, the various local government chairmen have by a bylaw legalized the illegality of the demand. I don't know if you get it. There is a state law. The state law is saying if you enter the site without lawful authority to do so, you have offended the law.
Yes.
So what they do is for them now, by way of a bylaw, to legalize this action.
All right. So we just pause a while there. The program is 10 Angles Podcast TV. We'll come back in a jiffy. All right. So welcome back on the program, 10 Angles Podcast. With me is Barrister Omes Ogedegbe, and we have been discussing the issue of DEVE in quotes. Its implication. How did it start? And how much is it affecting Delta State, for instance? So, Barrister, before we left, had that short break, we were talking about the involvement of local government. They are trying to make something that is illegal now legal. The local governments have, by way of bylaws, come from behind to institute these committees that go about entering into people's premises where development is going on and requesting all sorts of levies.
The law talks about entering a premises of a developer without lawful authorization to do so.
Yes.
And for the purpose of making demands. This is what has been prescribed by the law. So what the law intends to achieve is being underscored by the local government chairman, by the various local government councils. What they do is they now set up committees. Some of them went as far as to, by way of a bylaw, bringing into existence the various committees which are geared towards revenue drive. Mm-hmm. But we have come to realize that there is no revenue that is being driven by these various committees. They are just a settlement ground.
Okay,
they settle their political bulldogs to say you go and be in charge of this committee. And of all of this committee, sad to say, what is intended to be achieved by the Delta State Public and Private Protection Law is now being discredited by the various local government chairmen. We have committee on foundation, committee on iron and steel, committee on aluminium, committee on roofing, committee on ties, committee on painting. In which case, when they even come to the site, they do not follow any known legal procedure. What is expected of the law? You serve a demand notice on the developer.
No, but on what basis? If the person has paid the statutory monies he's supposed to pay, on what basis should local government?
They are not saying the local government chairmen who are a product of the said DEVE. That is what I am telling you, that fools grow old. These same persons are beneficiaries of the system. They are now being entrusted with leadership position.
So they must
It is like an armed robber that have been enlisted into the law enforcement agency with a tendency of robbery.
Some can be repentant. Some
No,
can repent.
but you know, repentance have to do with the prevailing circumstance the individual finds himself. The man that have no food to eat, and you are now exposing him to an avenue to steal, and you say, this man is repentant, he has forgone his criminal tendency. My brother, it takes divine mercy. But as in this case, these are the calibers of people we are entrusting with political positions. The people who knows how the developed position.
Like you not joining the politics,
No,
so that we can have a Senate.
You know, we do not have election if our system have not developed to the level where we have election other than selection.
You are afraid.
No, it's not as if I am afraid.
Yes.
But let me tell you, an historian have said a wise man play politics with money he can afford to throw away, because we know how the political system is. So in the interim, what we have is a selection process and not an election process. Pending when the system is purified, let us face the situation as it is.
Okay.
The political situation now is a reward for political hard work.
So the political situation,
as it is now,
the law and the law enforcement agents are not even helping the man.
No, the law is an instrument of engineering, we agree. But properly described, the laws are like cobwebs. Only the small flies are caught. The big flies always break through. The local government chairmen, what they do now is to reward their political do-gooders with various committees, which they tag as committees for the purpose of internal revenue generation. And for the purpose of this internal revenue generation, they now set up various committees which by their modus operandi is intended to circumvent that law that have been prescribed and enacted by the state, that have prescribed this said deve.
All right, so let's look at the implication of deve to developers.
Yes.
You have a set amount of money you want to use to develop your property, and from nowhere, certain persons start ringing the bells that you have to pay this, pay that, pay that. Does it give you the confidence as a developer to continue with your development?
When you have acquired the property in debtor state, when it is time for you to say, I want to go and dig my foundation, my brother, you need a doctor by your side and an ambulance on standby.
So that you don't have BP.
That is what, and let me tell you, even the government is not saved this agony. I attended a program in Asaba.
No, what you are saying is that the government
is
has
not
to settle.
The government is not spared the agony. As we speak, do you know silicon sand is being taken away from Ughelli to Lagos for the purpose of producing ceramics in Lagos? What is their excuse? They wanted to assemble the assembly plant in Ughelli, better glass. When they came with their machineries, the demand for deve drove them away. Whereas the sand is in abundance in Ughelli. What they do now, they have assembled the plant in Lagos. They are moving our silicon sand from Ughelli. They are moving it now to Lagos for the purpose of producing ceramics in Lagos.
And that will cause us to lose employment opportunities.
Exactly.
That will cause us to lose a lot of money.
Even the revenue drive and generation to the state.
Yes.
I brought up this issue, and sad to say, the Commissioner for Environment, with due respect to him, who was possibly sleeping while I was making this issue, in his reaction, he said the government do not have money to bring investors to the state. Any investor that is interested to come should come.
And come and face this kind of
problem. We are saying it has nothing to do with government investing in it. But he's rather talking about government investing in it. We are saying, no, don't invest in it. These people...
Just give the people
an enabling environment to operate. We have the Anti Deve Law, but we are not able to implement. If this government is sincere, the government should set up an agency. The purpose of this agency is to give everybody direct call number to say, if anybody is harassing you in your site, call this number, will be there. That agency will now have a mandate to prosecute any offender that is violating this law. It goes beyond merely enacting the law. Who are those who implement the law?
Implement it, yes.
Implementation is our problem. Otherwise, even prior to the enactment of this data state public and private protection law, we have adequate laws that cater for all the atrocities of this said community youth, community elders, and what have you.
So what you are saying is this law now is just cosmetic.
The law is there, but the law has been circumvented. And the illegality of these operators is tied to the operations of the various local government chairman, or chairman rather, who affect the purse of the governor, and they know the governor will be passive towards their operation.
No. The governor was the Speaker of the House of Assembly when this bill was introduced, debated, passed, and then sent to the governor for assent. So why would the governor, the present governor, Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, be passive to this law? Because if you read your Bible,
it was against the wish and will of the king that he gave the crowd Barabbas. When the people were saying, give us Barabbas, against his wish, he said, let me give you people Barabbas and see what you will do with him. Against public outcry, that law was enacted. But no step was taken further to see the implementation of this law. So we are not saying the government has remained passive to say, I have given you the law in one hand, I am taking back the law in another hand. And that is what all the local government chairmen are doing.
But people are still developing.
People are developing at great cost.
Because since 2018, when this law was passed, you can imagine the quantum of houses that have been built in and around this area and the Delta State. So
I am not telling you, we cannot, I stand to be corrected. There is no developer that have not been exploited in a manner that have not violated the law, either directly or indirectly. There is no developer. There is nobody that will say, I have acquired the land in Delta State, I have built my house from foundation level to roofing level, I have not paid anything that could be termed as development. There is no developer. This thing have taken another dimension. In some community, they will not tell you it is called donation. When you say, I am not ready to pay, they have a way of sending their street dogs, their bulldogs to come after you. So there is no developer that will tell you, I am developing a property in Delta State, I am not paying the bill. The law have only come to possibly checkmate their excesses. While that was on, the local government chairman now had a conference to say our people are hungry. These are the people we use for election. These are the people we use for snatching ballot buses. They do not have any other occupation. They do not have nothing else. They are legalizing the illegality, and it is a way of reward system. These people do not have any other occupation. What do we do to them? They only strive on their way. Alright, since the law at the state level have prescribed their way, the local government have even made it worse by setting up legions of committees. If you stand by your side, my brother, in a day, especially the day you are digging your foundation, you will see endless committees. The community have now fused into the local government system. A man will even have his building approval. Some Ushins will come to say you do not have building permits from the local government. You will now begin to wonder. A man that has already gotten driver's license, you are asking that man for driver's permit. And they will tell you that is what the local government has authorized them to come to demand for. At the building site, they will not come again to say there is a certificate that is known as health. That is your health certificate before you will dig your foundation. If you have to do with anything that is steel, they will not come to say this one is committee, iron and steel. At the level of building, putting your windows, aluminum committee, roofing. My brother, what was intended to be curtailed by that law, the local government chairmen have met. And they have decided to discredit the law.
That just shows.
And they are using the local government and the communities. They are using the community watchdogs who were part of the old system. They have been recruited into the new system. So when these people are coming, they have the same faces, the same strategy, but with a legal backup. They give them local government ID cards. They give them letters from the local government to tell you this time around they are not running away. If you want to bring your police, bring your police. We have authority from the local government to come and make this demand. This demand is not deve.
So, as it is now, there is no thing that anybody can do.
No, what we are saying now is the modus operandi does not even give room for us to even tackle the disease. In that, when these people storm the various sites, we expected that if you are coming to the site, bring your letter of demand. That is what the law says.
First and foremost.
Yes, bring your letter of demand.
And the letter
Tell
of
us what you
reminder.
are demanding. Give us your reminder. When you don't, you summon us to court. But what they do is, they come in the same approach, because I am telling you, it is an upgrade of the DEVE system. What they do, they run into the site, chase everybody away to say this person have not complied.
Injure people.
Yes, the same people from the local government. They chase people away from the site. And what they do is, we will close this site until you meet our demand. Before, they were running away. They know what they were doing was illegal. But this time around, they are walking in the euphoria of a legal action. So they are not running away. They close your site.
But you legal luminaries tell us that when a superior law meets an inferior law, the superior law supersedes.
Yes.
For instance, we have this ANTI DEVE law in Delta State. On what basis, on what ground did this other bylaw now come up?
No, what we are saying now is, these people are operating in a manner we do not see any legal framework from their operation.
So they can
another,
be challenging.
they certainly.
So, well, has anybody come to you, for instance, and say, okay, this is my problem, this is the challenge I'm facing, I've been giving demand notice, I was not even giving demand notice.
The same approach our people had towards a pre-DEVE era is the same approach they have to what is currently going on. They usually come, they make demands in trickles. Yeah, we are DEVE committee in respect of foundation, and what they do, anything you have, give to us. Our demand is supposed to be 1 million naira. You will have somebody in the community that is one of them, but is not part of them. That one will say, don't worry, I will talk to them. Just look for 100,000 naira and give to them. You now begin to say, instead of me to go to court and go through this headache,
let me just give them.
The moment you give to them, as they are leaving, they are calling their colleagues to say, we have gotten our share. You go and demand your own. Those people come, they don't meet each other at the site. As one is leaving, another is coming. They have their way of operation. They hardly meet each other at the site, because as they are leaving, they are informing the others are coming. And these people who have the locus to say, this is what I have experienced. These are the papers given to me. None of them is coming forward. So which means what we are even still saying now, when we approach the court, on what basis? On what basis? As again, I even recently learned the Delta State House of Assembly is intending to regulate the landlord and tenant relationship as to rent demand.
Rent demand, yes.
We now begin to wonder how that will fly when you are living the disease and you are tackling the symptom.
So how does the disease now affect the symptom?
No, what we are saying now is the man that is building, when you are able to minimize his expenditure on the project, at that point you determine what the man will demand as rent.
So if that is not cured,
you do not now tell the man that has spent, for instance, 50 million in erecting a structure to take 100,000 as rent from tenants. It's not possible. But where you are able to regulate what the man is spending by slim fitting these unnecessary demands, at that point you should be able to look the man at the face and tell the man, this is what you are going to demand from your tenant as rent. But when you are failed on your responsibility, you will not have the courage to tell that man to say, this is what you will demand as rent.
But somebody will tell you that these demands by these persons is just a minuscule fraction of what it takes to complete a building.
No,
because
if you are not careful, let me tell you, let us practicalize it. If you give an estimate of what you intend to build a house in the state, If you place it and if these people are aware of it, that this is your budget for this building, I can tell you, you will deplete it in settling all of these people. It will not even be enough. It will not be enough to settle these various committees that will be coming up every day. The committees are endless.
Okay, so there you have it from somebody who has seen it all in this part of the Niger Delta. It is a disease, a cankerworm that is eating deep into the fabric of society. And this disease needs to be cured because of the level of challenges that it will pose to developers. He has just told us that a company that was supposed to settle illegally, to provide employment, to provide all sorts of things for the people of this area, to make it even cheaper to get these products, had to move to Lagos. And so this is where it affects you and it affects me. This is where our community leaders, even the local government that has kind of transformed debt collection, kind of legalized debt collection, should note that it is affecting the economy, the well-being, and the image of Delta State. Barr Ogedegbe, thank you for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
And we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.